Welcome to the Travel Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Aylin Blanco. I interview successful industry professionals and share my personal journey to becoming a travel agent. The show is for aspiring travel agents and travel professionals at every level. My mission is to uncover the universal keys to thrive in this business. Join me as I take a closer look into the life of a travel agent. Hello, and welcome back to the Travel Agent Podcast. Today, we have a wonderful guest with tons of experience, and I'm so excited to have her on the show, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hello, I am Ja'Vonne Harley, owner of Advantage International. We are a group and incentive travel company. We have just celebrated our 22nd year in business, but I've been in the travel industry for a lot longer than that, a lot longer than I care to divulge. It's an age thing, don't worry about it.
Wonderful. I've been the same age for about 10 years now, so we're on the same boat. So the question that I ask all of my guests is, how did you get started?
Well, it was really not by design. I had gone to college for merchandising and buying, so I was in retail for a period, but decided, this really isn't what I want to do. It's not for me. So I took a hiatus, and during that hiatus, I decided to take a travel agent course. Back then, they had a lot of schools that you could go to, very local, that you could get a certificate in. And so that's what I did. And when I came out, I really didn't want to be a travel agent per se. So I found a position with an airline consolidator. And that was really more of what I felt that I enjoyed doing.
So can you tell me, since you have many years of experience, how working for that consolidator really helped you when you started your own travel agency?
It was a tremendous help because I got to see and have hands-on experience with contract negotiation, with understanding contracts, with sales and marketing. When I left the company, I was general manager, and I had worked in every department from operations to reservations. I was in charge of hiring. I even wrote the company manual. So it was a small company, and I was allowed to be very hands-on because it was a small company and learn every aspect of the business. But I would say certainly contracts and understanding them and contract negotiations.
That is super important. And one of the things I feel like starting out isn't something that we pay a whole lot of attention to that we really should. So since you have celebrated your 22nd year, what is something that you wish you would have known when you first started?
Well, I really think I started off on the good foot. And what I knew when I started was that I never ran a business before, and the financial side I didn't know. So I had the wherewithal to align myself with SBA, the Small Business Administration, and they gave me a counselor, and he really walked me through everything. So I kind of figured out what I didn't know at the onset, and that guidance and that tutelage really helped a lot with finances.
So with you being in the industry through the ups and the downs, what is something that you have that you didn't necessarily do really well in the very beginning that you have mastered over the last 20 years?
Well, sales and marketing was never my major forte. I was more of the person that would put the contracts together, put the pricing together, the packaging design, and all of that. So I really had to figure out sales and marketing on my own and get comfortable with it. It was something I wasn't comfortable with. So that was something that I had to really work on.
And since you've been through the ups and downs and, our current situation, how have you got comfortable with pivoting during, the different times where, the industry is continuously changing?
Well, pivoting, that's an interesting word because I have been hearing it a lot. That's what everybody's talking about now, pivoting. And I think that I didn't want to pivot. I like the lane that I'm in. And I took a master class a few weeks ago, and the young lady's name escapes me, but she's an ex-WNBA player, and she now owns a tea shop. And she was talking about how COVID has impacted the restaurant industry. And certainly it has impacted the travel industry in the same way, probably more so. But she used a word instead of pivoting. She used basketball analogy, and that was rebounding. And I prefer to think of it as rebounding, because when you think of rebounding in terms of basketball, when the ball comes off the net or off the hoop, you then have to figure out where to go with it, right? So I think of it in those terms more than pivoting, because pivoting to me is like going in a new direction, and I'm not going to go in a new direction.
Oh, how have you made plans for 2021 and your clientele? How have you kind of communicated your rebound plan with your current clients?
Well, one of the things that we did is we established a travel webinar series that we do every other week. We invite our clients to, and we also use it as a marketing tool for new clients. And we promote it on social media as well. And these travel webinar series, we focus and target on destinations that we're planning for 2021 and 2022. And through these travel webinar series, we have done polls and surveys asking people when they would be ready to travel, what would make them more comfortable with travel. And so that has given us a lot of insight, where we have actually put some things on our calendar for 2021, and now we're just waiting to launch them.
So over the last 8 months, is there anything that any insight that you've gained that you could share new travel agents like myself who finally were in a place where things were going well and, thinking about how to plan for next year?
Well, this is a difficult time for everybody, right? So no one could have expected this. And from my experience in the industry, previous years, there have been 9/11, there have been other terror attacks, there have been issues with one particular area, revolutions in Egypt, in 2011, 2012, all of these things that have happened, but we've always been able to redirect. We've always been able to go to another destination. Well, that's not the case now. So the main thing I would say is to have your ducks in a row, to know what your focus is and to be able to stay that course. Of course, there's that financial side of it. So you do have to plan. You have to plan for those rainy days, just like with any industry or job that you have. And that's the best way that I can really explain it, is to stay in contact with your clients, but making sure that your own finances are in order so that you can weather those storms.
I love that advice. Because I think there's just a lot in the beginning as a new business owner in general, where there's a lot of capital going out
Yeah.
and not necessarily planning well for, obviously for something like this, but even something a little bit more minor. Well, I would like to always end on a high note. So I kind of want to know what you have going on that you are very excited about in life and in business that's, coming up.
Well, before 2020, at the very end of 2019, we launched, or we're in the process of launching, our marketing brand, Traveling While Black. It was something that we've had for 20 plus years, and we never really used other than pointing it. We had the domain travelingwhileblack.com, and we just pointed it to Advantage's website. But what we did in the end of 2019 is we said, let's use it as a broader marketing brand. And that's what we were on the path of doing when all heck broke loose. And so we have stayed that course. We have really used this time to focus on building that marketing brand. We've incorporated it into our travel webinar series. We have really used this time to do the things that we couldn't do. Of course, at the onset of 2020, we were all looking at 2020 vision. We were no different. I mean, I remember one of my first New Year's Eve posts were a pair of glasses looking out into the sky, like 2020 vision. And so a lot of people are like, oh, abandoning that. But what I have said is, it's still 2020 vision, because what this period has done for us, whether we like it or not, it has given us the gift of time to really focus on what's important. And that's what we've done. We've reevaluated everything from our terms and conditions, everything we didn't have time to do before. We have reconnected with our attorneys, with our accountants. Of course, we deal with them on a regular basis for various things, but this time we were able to focus on making sure we were up to date with everything, that we were in compliance with everything from our website to our terms and conditions to how we promote, how we use social media, all of those things, and then focusing on that marketing brand and social media that we really didn't have the time to do before.
Well, I am very excited to see how that brand blossoms in 2021, and really just to stay connected. I love your story, and just in that little snippet, you gave us so many gems, what we could be doing right now for our own businesses and getting things in order if we haven't already. So I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And I want to let everyone know, if you would like to learn more, you can learn all about her in her blog post that is on the travelagentpodcast.com. And is there anything that you think might be super helpful that I didn't touch on?
I would just say build a network for yourself, a network of people that you can trust for, as I said, finances, for legal help, other people in the industry, destinations like your tourist boards, local and international, regional, all of those. Really align yourselves and create that network. And it's very instrumental to have a mentor. And the mentor doesn't have to be in the travel industry. Of course, that's always a plus if they're in your industry, but another entrepreneur, somebody that can really give you guidance, and just stay as positive as you can and focus on the passion that brought you to the industry to begin with.
Well, you are fabulous, and I just want to thank you again. Well, like I said, folks, if you want to learn more, go to the blog post. All of her information is there, and we look forward to hearing from you next year sometime and seeing how things are going.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining the Travel Agent Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Visit thetravelagentpodcast.com for more information about today's episode and other travel agent resources. Be sure to tune in every Thursday for new episodes. Until next time, continue to build a travel business you love.